Barron Trump, today, was on the verge of an unexpected encounter that would change the course of his life, and he had no idea about it yet. Los Angeles streets were ruled by a silence as cold as ice on a summer afternoon. Right next to the city's magnificent avenues, among worn-down buildings and the labyrinthine streets of Skid Row shrouded in a veil of mist, fate's cruel irony was on full display. Seated in the back of his luxury car and lost in deep thought, Barron observed the chaos outside while revisiting the dusty pages of his past. Suddenly, before his eyes, a face emerged. The very face that had once been illuminated by a love for reading, but had been erased by life's relentless blows. Mrs. Anderson. As Barron felt the beating of his heart, he realized that those old, unforgettable emotions were resurfacing within him. The city lights reflecting off the car window bathed Mrs. Anderson's pallid face, blurring the thin line between the shadows of the past and the present. In that moment, the question, does suffering truly determine our fate, or are there other secrets hidden within hope, echoed in his mind. This unexpected encounter was no mere coincidence. With a profound tremor within, Barron began to search for the hidden mysteries behind this moment, clues to life stories and lost hopes he had perhaps never noticed before. The silence inside his car, interspersed with distant cries and indistinct sounds, flowed like a film reel. At the intersection of yesterday and today, a painful awareness of life's fragility began to take root in his heart. It was as if a long-lost letter or a forgotten secret were suddenly being revealed. Barron, deeply moved by the stark contrast between his comfortable life and the harsh realities of the streets, started to wonder what could have led Mrs. Anderson to her current state, and which dark events and unresolved mysteries from her past were to blame. While the streets of Skid Row laid bare the raw face of life's cruelty, Mrs. Anderson, once a wise teacher who inspired hope and opened the doors to the future for her students, now trembled like a shadow weighed down by the burdens of the past, wrapped in a thin blanket. The woman who had once lit up classrooms with hope had become a captive of the loneliness and abandonment of these cold streets. As Barron observed this poignant scene, he saw not only the external deprivation but also the deep wounds within Mrs. Anderson's soul. The dullness in her eyes spoke of not only economic hardship but also of unresolved secrets from years past, of betrayals by her family and the tragedies she had endured. Every detail he observed hinted that her story was not merely one of sorrow. Perhaps, hidden within her past lay an unsolved mystery, a secret letter, or an unspoken word waiting to be uncovered. With each passing moment, as a faint sound from a street corner and a forgotten melody carried by the wind reached his ears, Barron sensed hints of hidden memories from Mrs. Anderson's past, maybe remnants of a long-silenced hope that still flickered within her. Was it possible that amid the ruins, there remained a spark of hope suppressed long ago? Her life story reflected not only the hardships of economic deprivation and societal neglect but also deep personal wounds inflicted by family betrayals, illnesses, and losses. Like the yellowed pages of an old diary, every step she took revealed traces of forgotten memories and suppressed emotions. In her eyes, the scars of loneliness and betrayal mingled with the fragile glimmers of a hope that could still be revived. Determined to uncover the hidden details of her story, Barron gathered clues from street corners, faded graffiti on crumbling walls, and distant, nostalgic tunes. Every piece of evidence brought together the traces of a past and hints of a hopeful future, compelling him to believe that behind every sorrow lay a secret miracle waiting to be discovered. Barron Trump began taking determined steps to lighten the heavy burden of the past and to breathe new life into a forgotten soul. He set out to unveil the hidden mysteries behind Mrs. Anderson's tragedy, aiming to bring into the light those details of her life that perhaps no one had noticed before. By escorting her to the doorstep of a luxurious 5-star hotel, the very symbol of comfort and opulence, this act of assistance transformed from merely a tale of rescue into a window opening onto the secrets of the past. In the spacious lobby of the hotel, each of Barron's steps seemed to echo the dusty memories of days gone by. Here, doctors, social service experts, and attorneys worked tirelessly, not only to restore order in Mrs. Anderson's life but also to uncover forgotten documents, old photographs, and perhaps even a relic from many years ago. Every corner, every wall of the hotel whispered the silent testimonies of the past. Every step reanimated the mysterious story behind her suffering. Later, with a gentle smile, Barron approached Mrs. Anderson and softly said, "Do you remember me? I'm Barron Trump." Mrs. Anderson looked at him in astonishment. The lines of years and the depth of emotion were evident in her eyes. "Barron, is it really you? It's been so long." With warmth and sincerity, Barron continued. Yes, I'm here. I've never forgotten you. You always gave me hope and taught me the meaning of life. Now, I'm here by your side, ready to support you. Would you tell me about what you've been through? Mrs. Anderson, overwhelmed by surprise and emotion, locked her eyes onto Barron. After a moment of silence, with a trembling voice and tears streaming down, she began. Oh, Barron. Your voice brings back so many memories. I used to be that teacher who lit up the lives of young people, showing them the beauty of life. But time changed everything cruelly. Betrayals by my family, illnesses, losses, and society's neglect. In an instant, everything fell apart. The little hope I once held began to fade, and I found myself here, in loneliness. Barron, with a compassionate look and a gentle tone, extended his hand. I understand, and I'm here now. Together, we'll get through these dark days. I'm here to support you and help you rekindle that spark of hope. Your story is so precious, and I will stand by you. Mrs. Anderson, finding solace in his sincere words, managed a slight smile through her tears. Thank you, Barron. Maybe I really can start over and feel hopeful again. After that, Barron worked tirelessly to help Mrs. Anderson reclaim her life. First, he secured a safe, warm environment for her by arranging accommodation at the luxurious hotel. He also coordinated regular medical checkups and connected her with top psychological experts for the support she needed. Collaborating with social service specialists, he encouraged her to reconnect with old friends and participate in community events. Thanks to Barron's genuine, heartfelt approach, Mrs. Anderson gradually left behind the heavy burdens of her past and began to open the door to a life filled with renewed hope. In time, the deep sorrow on her face softened into a gentle smile, and the living vitality that came with the joy of rediscovery rekindled the hope within her. Eventually, with the help of Barron's patience and devoted support, Mrs. Anderson managed to return to the order of her former life. First, her basic needs were met. Then, through professional therapy and social activities, her emotional healing began. Remembering the bright days of her teaching career, she started inspiring others again through small gatherings with students and community events. With every step, a hopeful strength washed away the heavy traces of the past, and the bitterness on her face was replaced by a warm smile. This transformation not only restored the order of her old life but also brought back the lost hope within her. After several months, Mrs. Anderson was in a much better state. In the hotel garden, under the slowly descending evening sun, Barron and Mrs. Anderson sat together. Accompanied by a gentle breeze, Mrs. Anderson, with deep gratitude and peace in her eyes, spoke softly. Barron, you have been a light for me. I cannot thank you enough for standing by me through the darkest days of my life. Because of you, I've found hope again and regained meaning in my life. Barron nodded with a warm smile and listened quietly. In that moment, both felt that the old wounds in their hearts had begun to heal, and a new beginning was being forged through the power of friendship and genuine support. Barron reflected on the impact Mrs. Anderson had on him, feeling a genuine need to express his gratitude once again. Taking a deep breath, he turned his eyes toward her and spoke in a gentle tone. Sometimes life feels overwhelmed by darkness, but you didn't just give me hope. You helped me rediscover the lost strength within me. Even though so much time had passed, meeting you changed everything. Every hardship you've endured has taught me how to be stronger and more patient. You've healed a part of my heart, and walking this journey with you, I've learned to grow anew. For that, I am deeply grateful. Dear teacher, you didn't just give me information. You offered me the most precious lessons that truly touched my life, always encouraged me, and reignited my hope. When times got tough, your teachings were the guiding light that helped me get back on my feet. Every step I take, I feel the warmth of your words and the inspiration you gave me to discover what life really means. Thanks to your guidance, I've learned to see myself and the world in a whole new, more hopeful way. I thank you with all my heart. You've been a true light in my life. Mrs. Anderson listened quietly, her eyes filled with emotional intensity. Those words were a profound reflection of how well Barron understood her. As he explained how important it was for him to help her and overcome these challenges together, he had, in essence, illuminated the darkness within her. This gratitude honored the strength of their bond, and together, they became stronger in the face of life's difficulties. And from that day forward, their lives were never the same. If this story has touched your heart, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to my channel. Every subscriber helps this journey grow even more. Until the next inspiring story, thank you so much for your support.